When working reversible lace, I like to start with a one-color Italian cast-on and incorporate I-cord selvedges and use a tubular bind-off at the end. Now the trick is there's some maneuvering you have to do to get from the I-cord into the bind-off and to get from the cast-on into the I-cord. This video will show you how to do the cast-on and get into the I-cord, and there is a separate video that will show you how to get out of the I-cord and into the bind-off. So let's set this aside and get some yarn. So here's the yarn. Recall that when you are working Italian cast-on, the setup is similar to what you use for longtail cast-on. So this is a skein end and this is a long tail. I find it useful to have a removable pin at the fold. I don't know that this helps everyone, but it helps me. That's why I'm doing it. If your I-cord is an even number of stitches, such as 2 or 4, then your cast-on starts with knit and then purl, which is the usual way you cast on with Italian cast-on. But if your I-cord is an odd number, like 3 stitches, you'll need to start with a purl stitch rather than a knit, and I will demonstrate how you do that. So remember, in Italian cast-on, you move the right needle back to front as if you are going into a stitch to purl it. You wrap the yarn as if you are purling, and then you take the yarn to the back as if you are purling. And then for the knit part of the stitch, again, you take the right needle tip front to back as if you are going into a stitch to knit it. You wrap the yarn as if you are knitting, and then you bring the yarn to the front as if you are creating a knit stitch. So that's the first 2 stitches. Let me make a purl stitch, and there's the 3 stitches that will be the I-cord on this edge of the fabric. At this point I can cast on my knit purl pairs for my reversible lace. So you would cast on here however many pairs you need for whatever pattern is that you have decided to work. And I'll do 5 pairs. So now I'm at the other edge of the fabric, and I need 3 more stitches, and they're going to be knit and purl and end with a knit. So there we are. There's my cast on. I'm going to hang on to the corner here because I don't want to lose any stitches, and I'm going to turn the work. Okay, so here we are. The work is turned. There's my tail, there's my working end. Now here's the thing. To work I-cord, you typically slip the last 3 stitches purlwise with yarn in front, and then these first 3 stitches are knit, knit, knit. Except, look at what I have on the needle here. This is purl, knit, and purl. That's not what I want. But I can do something about that. I can change that, and I can change it by using my cable needle and my right needle. So that's what I will do. I will slip, let me tighten this up here so I don't lose things. There we are. I slip the purl stitches onto the cable needle, and I slip the knit stitch onto the right needle, and slip the other purl stitch onto the cable needle. Now the knit stitch goes back onto the left needle, so now I can park my right needle out of the way for a moment. Tighten things up a bit here. Okay, now here's one of the tricky bits. This tail, there's the tail, there's the working end. This working end, I'm going to need this at the back in a minute. So I need to take the working yarn in between the 2 needles. Now it's where I need it to be in just a minute. These 2 stitches are purls, but remember, knit and purl is opposite sides of the same thing. So if I rotate my cable needle 180 degrees clockwise, I have made those 2 purl stitches rather knit-like, and now I can slip them up onto the left needle. And now I will get my right needle again and my working yarn, and now I am ready to work knit, knit, knit and start my I-cord. So knit and knit, and at this point that tail can go to the back because now it's locked in, and knit. So I have started my I-cord. Now I am into the patterned part of the fabric, so this is just going to be knits and purls. You could start in with a pattern on this row, but I think a lot of times it's going to look better if you work one row plain. So think of this as a wrong side setup row where you just work one by one ribbing across the middle. And by the way, I'm working this in combination knitting, which is why I'm wrapping the purl stitches in sort of a strange manner. Okay, now I'm towards the end of the row, and I slip the last 3 stitches purlwise and with the yarn in front. And time to turn the work again. Okay, work is turned. And guess what? This edge of the work has the same issue the other edge had. Purl, knit, purl. I can fix that. So I do essentially the same maneuver I did at the other end. The purl stitches go on the cable needle, and the knit stitch goes on the right needle. And then I put the knit stitch back on the left needle. And now I rotate the cable needle 180 degrees clockwise and slide those 2 stitches, which are now much more knit-like, slip them up onto the left needle. Get out my right needle, get a hold of my working yarn, and now I can work knit and knit and knit. So I've established the I-cord on that edge, and now I'll work knit and purl across the middle of the fabric where the patterning would be. And this is now the point where you could start into the pattern, so you could call this row 1, and you could start working double yarn overs and reversible decreases and all of that. You also may want to just work several rows plain, because remember, if you do a lot of shaping, a lot of patterning near the edge of the fabric, that can cause the edge of the fabric to ripple, which you might want or you might not want. And getting near the edge, and of course at the end you want to slip the last 3 stitches purlwise with yarn in front, so that keeps your I-cord going on that edge. And now I'm going to turn the work again. And there we are. So I have established the I-cords at both edges, and I have one by one ribbing in the middle that's very nicely cast on with Italian cast on. So that is how you combine Italian cast on and I-cord selvedges in the same project.